Hey everyone, and welcome to the It's My Time show. I'm your host, David Andron, along with co-host James Gamble of the Global Scouting Bureau. Today we're going to talk a little bit about summer baseball, high school level and at the collegiate level. We have a very special guest with us, the commissioner of the Kansas Collegiate Baseball League, Mr. Sheldon Howell. How you doing, Sheldon?
Good, sir. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
Glad to have you, man. And kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then kind of get into a little bit about the Kansas Collegiate League.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, as you said, my name's Sheldon. I've been involved with baseball, pretty much my entire life. So after finishing and obviously got involved in the summer circuit, playing wise and then coaching wise, and then kind of more on the administrative side over the last, I think it's probably been five-ish, three, four, 5-ish years now. Honestly, they kind of run together. That I've been, the commissioner of Kansas Collegiate League, so being involved on that type of level. But before that, obviously, was involved with some of the different teams and just kind of, get my feet wet and understanding what this kind of beast of college summer ball is all about. But yeah, so it's been awesome. My league actually was formally named the Walter Johnson League. I believe that they started. It was right around the early 2000s, 1999, 2000, right around in there. So it's actually been around quite a bit of time. It's gone through, a couple different hands in that process before myself and kind of my team of people got involved with it, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And then, I've kind of been running the show over the last few. So.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys kind of combined with some of the other leagues over the past few years. I know my son
Yeah.
played for the Kansas Collegiate League a few years ago with the Hayes Larks, and it was a great
Yep.
league. It's really good for especially the younger guys that want development and want a lot of innings. He had a
Yep.
great summer there, and it was a very good league. So we enjoyed watching it. So,
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
how many teams do you guys have this year?
So this year we currently have 9. So we have 9. We've honestly done a little bit of some restructuring on how we've done things. And honestly, I feel really good about where we are. I would say, 3, 4 years ago, it was kind of a different mentality. Everybody, wanted more teams and more reach and more this. And for us, we kind of took a step back from that and really looked into what was best, not only for the organizations, as far as them being successful over the test of time, but then also, what's best for the players that come and play for us. Because when you start thinking bigger scale, traveling and going all over the place, the cost of that goes up too. And so, we were kind of on that outer brim of being like, man, we're really stretching ourselves thin at points and times. And, from a league perspective, we don't know if that's going to allow us to, test longevity and be around for a long time. And for us, so we made some changes there. So our 9 teams are actually all community-based teams now. So they're pretty much all in their own cities that are outside of the Wichita, kind of being the central, point for us, Wichita, Kansas. And, so it's awesome for that. It allows these small communities to really get involved with us and give them spectator baseball, entertainment baseball in the summertime. Another big push that we've had over this, coming into this year in 2022 is really focusing on what that experience is like, right? Experience while the guys are playing, experience for the fans, making it more than just, summer ball, making it fun across the board and where fans want to come out and support the team and be involved and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's where we're sitting right now. We're feeling real comfortable about it, real excited about it and how it's growing and all the different pieces that are kind of falling into place.
James, you have anything for him?
Yeah, I wanted to ask maybe from guys who are watching it a little bit about the player perspective of things that go on that are new to it. The incoming, the college freshmen, those guys, when they're looking at leagues, what do they expect? Whenever they go up there, it's community-based baseball. How many games are they playing? Is there a development aspect or is it just show and go because you play all the time? Just let some of the viewers know what to expect, because I think a lot of the young college athletes, they hear of college summer baseball, but they don't really understand it and maybe even give some expectations, the length of time that you like the players to actually be there from point A to the end of the season. When does that go on?
Yeah, for sure. So, a lot of questions there, and I'll try to wrap them all in. But, for us, that was part of our kind of, vision of what we wanted the league to be, right? And, for us, summer baseball, even when I played summer baseball, it was about having a good time. It was about getting our reps. It was about, going out there and getting at bats and being able to get better at the craft. And that's kind of what we wanted to focus on as far as how we've started to create this format with what we've wanted to do is we want that atmosphere, we want that culture to be about the players, right? Player first mentality of we want these guys to come in, and it's baseball, it's competitive, don't get me wrong, like we want our teams to be competitive, we want them to go out and try to win games, because when you're winning, you're having fun. When you're losing, you're not having nearly as much fun. But at the end of the day, our kind of philosophy there is it's not as much about the wins and losses. It's much more about how do we impact the community? How do our guys get better at the game? And how do we keep these college coaches happy as well, too? And we send back, better young men at the end of the summer, right? And wins and loss don't necessarily, track that. But that's kind of been kind of our focus, our mission, and part of the culture that we've been trying to build. But as far as like reporting and things like that, we've made some adjustments to how our season works as well, too. I'll be the first to tell you, it was crazy last year. I mean, last year coming off, call it post-COVID, whatever. I know COVID's not done by any means, but, just after all of the changes with college baseball, with after all the eligibility changes, just with all these things that happen, guys showing up to school, guys leaving school, guys going back. I mean, it was just nuts, right? And, so what happened with us is we obviously we didn't play in 2020, just with all of the different moving parts. So that happened. So recruiting was a little bit different. But then looking into 2021, we had an influx of guys. I mean, just there was all kinds of guys that were trying to play. And what we found it was just nuts, because guys would show up and then guys got burnt out really quickly and guys left. By the end of the summer, we were having to kind of pull some teeth and do some like real hardcore recruiting to get guys to, be able to stick it out. And, we had to find new guys. I mean, it was like the Wild West last year. It really was. And that it wasn't one specific team. And that's how I knew that it was kind of a nationwide thing, was everybody was having these issues with keeping guys around. So when we looked into 2022, we decided that we wanted to make some changes. We wanted to kind of mess with our format a little bit to one, try to protect ourselves from that happening again, number one. So we started later, or we're going to start later in this upcoming summer. Usually we'll have guys that are reporting, last week of May, maybe even a few days before the last week of May. And they come in and we do a ton of preseason stuff. And then we start playing, first week of June. And so we changed that up a little bit. We actually aren't going to have our guys report this year until June 1st. So that's the latest that we would ask them to come. If they want to come before that because they're okay with it, then that's fine. We get them set up with host families and stuff. But so June 1st, and then we'll play all the way out as late as, like, if they're making it postseason ball, they're going all the way to the championship, they'll go all the way to August 7th. So, and what we did is we kind of broke our season up into two halves. So we have the first half of the season and we have the second half of the season, right? So just call it, for example purposes, first month is June, second month is July, right? So the first month champion out of all of our 9 teams is the first half champion. And then the second half champion out of all 9 teams is the second half champion. Those two champions play each other for the league title, becoming the KCLB champion. And we created that kind of mindset, I guess, of, maybe this allows us that once we get into that month of July, when it's super hot in Kansas, guys are, it's getting to that point in time where they're thinking about going home. If their team hasn't been doing so hot in the summer, a lot of guys will check out. A lot of guys will, look at it and say, hey, we have no chance at winning the championship. I'm out of here. And, I'm a player person, I understand player perspectives really well. And my big thing is, generationally, it's a different player in this day and age. It truly is. When we made commitments back when we were playing, we didn't go back on those commitments pretty much no matter what. And in this day and age, it's just a little bit different. Guys do different things, and they're a little bit more in it for them. And, so they flip around, and we find that, at points in times, these guys they'll bail on you and they'll go home. So we tried to make it competitive. We tried to, make a fun thing in there. The other thing that we're doing this year is we're going to have like feature games at Genesis Sports Complex, which is a new complex that's here right outside of the Wichita area. It's a beautiful complex. They have they technically have 5 all turf, fields. 4 of them are college standard. So we'll actually play on those, and we're going to have feature nights out there where we have player parties. Guys get to socialize with each other. They get to go around and meet other guys from across the country, across the world that come here to play. We're going to do an all-star event this year, which we didn't do last year. To kind of give the guys a little break between the 2 halves. And then we're also going to do like a big 4th of July party. So we've just kind of transitioned it from, one, we want to play competitive baseball because we have some of the best baseball players that come in from all over the place. They're, and they're grinders. They're good. They want to be here. But we want to pair that with, them having a good time and them enjoying it as well too, because my personal opinion, I think that, the show and go, just grind it out, play 4, 5, 6 times a week, get 1 day off. That model of summer baseball is definitely on the downtrend. I wouldn't say it's dying or it's gone, but it's on the downtrend because of the athletes that we have that are playing the game in this day and age. And, and that's okay, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it per se. It's more of, what leagues are going to make adjustments and what leagues are going to do things that are different that allow those, piqued interest of the guys and get them to come and enjoy their time while they're there. Because in our business, my goal is to have, kids that want to come back, right? I want them to be able to come back and be involved with our community because, again, I'm player first, community first, right? Winning and losing is like the last tick on my thing when it comes to how we operate the teams and what we do. Because, though the winning and losing isn't what's going to sustain the team's success. I mean, it just doesn't translate for us as in college where, winning and losing is probably right up there at some of the top. Right. So sure. It's just, it's different. So we just try to operate, in the space that we're in. We try to, not act like we're something that we're not. We're not semi-professional baseball, right? We're not professional baseball. We don't try to act big league and, do those things. Now, do we put a professional product on the field? 100%. Are we ran that way? 100%. But it's, we also understand the clientele that we have, the customers that we have inside of the business, and they're young kids, right? They're your freshmen, sophomore, juniors, not a lot of seniors come and play in our league, but we do have a handful of them, so we deal with the younger generation of your college baseball players, and that's how we try to operate for them.
No, I think it's great what you guys are doing, and the listeners are probably starting to understand how much of a business it truly is. It's not just a 2-month business. It's a 12-month business trying to put these products together in the leagues. So, and look, I love what y'all are doing with changing the schedules to having a first half winner, second half winner. I'm big whenever I deal with athletes, we deal with them every day. I come from that old school. I want them to honor their commitments. I want them to play baseball, get reps as much as they can, become a part of that community. Networking, you never know when somebody in your league then takes an administrative position with, a major league team. You never know who's watching in this game. We're all networked together. We're our own fraternity. How many games do you actually play?
So this year, league games that we have that are actually going to go with the record, obviously, is going to be 32. Okay. So we'll have 32 league games. I would say the average amount of games per team that's going to play is probably closer to 36, because they'll add in a couple of non-league teams and things like that where they play some exhibition stuff, 2 or 3 preseason ones in there. And then depending on if they're playing postseason, they'll add a couple more. But so that's, and that was another big thing. And I think that's a big deal that's changing too is, summer ball. I mean, especially when I was playing, it was, college coaches wanted 40 games and they wanted, if you weren't playing 40 games, you weren't considered, right? You weren't going there because they wanted you in there, getting the reps. And that has definitely been a massive industry kind of switch where, it's pulling teeth now to get arms to go anywhere. Sure. You have to know the right people and make sure that you run the right organization to gain that trust with some college coaches to be able to do it. And luckily we're able to do that for the most part. But it's still, it's a lot of legwork. I have great relationships across the country with great coaches, and they'll, they hold you to what you say you're going to do, and which I appreciate because I like operating that way. But there is a lot of it's diluted, right? There's a lot of college summer leagues. There's a lot of pop-up teams that show up and fade and show up and then fold. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff. And I think that there's across this space, the summer circuit, I think there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily get into it for the right reasons, and they don't do the due diligence and the legwork to actually put it all together the right way. And really, and just call it what it is. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that see, oh, hey, I can charge a fee, I can recruit 30-ish guys, and the next thing you know, I'm making X amount of dollars over the summertime. And that was another big transition for me when I took over. We changed all of our teams to nonprofits, so we operate all as 501c3s. Because for me, it's not about, trying to make a bunch of money. It truly isn't. I mean, now I'd be lying. Our whole goal is to be profitable, right? I mean, we have to be able to sustain a business, and we have to be able to operate the day-to-day operations of the team. But the big goal for us is to be able to decrease our player fees. So that way, college guys who don't have time to work, and if they are working, it's very minimal, who aren't getting money because they're working on their craft all the time, to give them the best opportunity to be able to get their reps in, to get seen, to get in front of different scouts, get different eyes on them, all of those things, while implementing in the community at the lowest possible cost that we can possibly do it at. And, so that's what we do. I mean, we just we audit ourselves on that, right? I mean, we go in there and make sure, that we don't have, the extra dollars, just laying around for nothing. I mean, that's just not how we operate. We put that money back into our communities. We try to make it as affordable as possible for guys to come and play, and we provide everything for them while they're here. I mean, for the most part, obviously they provide for themselves on a day-to-day living, type of mentality. But, I mean, all of the game fees, I mean, and that's another thing. I think a lot of people overlook how much it costs to have a baseball game, even on a low end thing. I mean, playing baseball in the summertime is expensive. I mean, field rentals, lights, coaches, umpires, assigning, I mean, it's just, the list goes on and on. So it's just, it's finding that balance, being true to, who we are and what our mission is and what we're about, and, trying to put the best product out there for them to be able to hopefully move along. And, last year, I think I'd have to look at the exact number, but I know we had over 30 guys that were signed in the league last year. A handful of them actually went on to play or signing some sort of professional contract, which is kind of cool. And that's one thing that we don't. I get a lot of flack for that, and I'll be honest with you. I don't share some of that stuff just because I don't know why, but I just don't. And I run a performance enhancement school, and I work with athletes, all year round, all the time. And when my athletes come in here and they sign their D1 contracts, or they're playing, I got athletes at Notre Dame, USC, I mean, all across the country. And I never post that stuff up, because for me, I'm not trying to leverage them into us, making that next step or whatever it is. And I catch flack for that quite a bit with the baseball guys too, is like, oh man, let's really hype this guy up because he signed, with the Pirates last year. And I'm like, yeah, I appreciate that. And I think it's awesome. But in the same sense, that's him. That's what he worked for. That's what he earned. That's how he did that, and I don't know, that has never sat well with me. It's just never been the way that I've operated. So we just haven't done it. But, as far as guys getting looks and getting out there, I mean, I think it was just over 30. I think it was 33 guys or 34 guys that signed to continue to play, whether that's going on to a 4-year, going to play on some sort of professional contract. But so that was cool. Being a part of that and being a part of that journey is truly, the most rewarding part of what we do in the summertime, is seeing those guys actually, take that next step, whichever that step might be.
Sure. Well, I applaud you. I think that's a great ideology that you have. You're on the same little island that we're on at how we feel about when players move on. I think they work really, really hard to get to the point where they can. And I like everything that you're saying. I think it's a great opportunity for the kids. I heard you mention host family. For those people that have never been through that, it's a great experience whenever the young, the time for these kids / young men, because that's what they're doing. They're in a transitional period for them to get to go and experience new communities, meet new players. It's great. I personally, whenever I played, got to be in a host family environment. It was outstanding. You get to meet people and have relationships for a very long time. So for players that are out there, I mean, that's outstanding. Not to be afraid of these opportunities. They're things you really want to embrace not just in baseball, but in life. Because you do grow as a person. You find new cultures, and but you all have the same things that you believe in when it comes to baseball. That's why I call it a big fraternity. But guys that are from the South, let's say, that take an opportunity to go up there, it's a great opportunity to go see different parts of the country, meet other players. They all love baseball. You'll compete on the field, but you get to learn a lot. You get to experience a lot. You get to meet new people. So I think it's great.
Yeah, no, and I'll give a little shout out to our host coordinator, Jamie. She's amazing, and she's somebody, who's a volunteer, and I try to give her anything that I can find around this place to show my appreciation to her. But, I mean, the people that host, and they'll tell you 99% of the time, they have great experiences. They enjoy that. It's lifelong memories. They get around these kids, and then these kids become family. I mean, I can't tell you the countless amount of times that we get emails and texts and all those things where they're like, hey, like, little Johnny's, he's getting married and invited us to come to the wedding, like things like that. And just, they go and watch them play for the remainder of their careers, depending on how long they're there. And it's just, that side of stuff that's really truly what it should be about. It's about building those relationships, and learning a lot about yourself in the process. And, finding, every year I text my host pops. I played down in Macon, Georgia, in the summertime. It's a long time ago now for the Macon Giants. And, I stayed with him. He was an awesome guy. And I had a blast with him that summer. And, I text him on his birthday. I follow him on Instagram, like him and I just chat from time to time, it's just that type of stuff. I would have never had the opportunity to do that if I didn't take the leap of faith and do it. And then on the back end, him doing it as well too. And, so it's just it's an amount of appreciation that comes with that most people just kind of overlook. But, and I always tell hosts, families or people that are listening and you're thinking about being a host family, understand these kids that are coming into your home, they're typically probably a little more scared to do it than you are, right? I mean, they're literally moving into a stranger's home for 2 months. They know nothing about, so it's just, we try to treat them like family, and that's a Midwestern thing. Like we try to make them feel welcome. We try to, do our best in that sense and find ways to give back in the process. So.
Outstanding.
Yeah, host families are great. I mean, the collegiate level and at the professional level, the minor league level, baseball is not a possibility without them. So we appreciate all the 100%. Host families. And, it's a great opportunity for both them to meet some good players and for the players to, like you said, extended family. I mean, my son's 3 host families for the last 3 summers, and all 3 of them send him Christmas gifts and, come watch him play at, his college that he's at now. And, they stay in touch pretty regularly. So they're an extension of our family, and, we're grateful for having them as well. We love what you do up there. I've been following the Kansas Collegiate League for years and trying to send players up there. And, now we're going to, have an agreement with you guys to help player procurement even further. And, really want to try to push some quality guys up your way. What's the best way for somebody that wants to play, reach out to you?
Yeah, definitely. So kclbonline.com. So if you just go to our league website on there, there's essentially a tab on there. You click on that. There's a couple different ways that you can fill out information, and that information comes directly to the league office. So we get that. We usually reach back out, and honestly, it's a good point to kind of talk on is, if you're a player that's out there and you're looking to play, right, and you want to play, don't reach out and then not be ready to commit, right? Because these things are moving, and they're moving every day, all the time. And I cannot tell you how many people reach out and then, and we'll say, what questions do you have, and we answer all those. And then it turns into, well, let me think about it. And it's like, I understand in the same sense because it's a commitment, but, don't reach out if you're not ready to actually get ready to move forward, because in our business, we want the guy that wants to be here, right? We want the guy that wants to come and wants to play and wants to get better. And, the old mentality was kind of, you shop it around until you find the best guy. And, that mentality is definitely shifting because, it's more so about finding the guys that actually want to compete for you, want to play for you, that are good quality individuals that aren't going to drag their feet, that aren't going to drag you along. And that's just generational, I guess. And there's a lot of that goes on. and makes it a lot harder in that process. So, there's plenty of opportunity out there. I would strongly suggest guys to find, understand why you're reaching out in the first place. Be ready to commit if you're truly wanting to play. And then, at that point in time, you got to, trust your gut and make the best decision for yourself. But anytime that you're going to drag your feet or hold people along, I can assure you over time, that's just not a good habitual thing to do. So it's something that you want to understand it before you get into it, I guess.
Right. We also help, a lot of collegiate summer leagues find players, and a lot of times the rosters fill up before Christmas time. So, if there's any spots left here in the spring, they need to really jump on it and not waste a whole bunch of time, because it will fill up fast. And, we also have.
We have.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. Oh, I was going to say we have minimal holes left. Yeah. I mean, by the end of January, I would say that we're typically, 85, 90% full. Everybody always leaves those few slots in there to kind of see what's going on in the spring. But, the bulk of that recruiting stuff is definitely moving along. So,
well, Sheldon, would you find that pitching is kind of the toughest thing from the Collegiate Summer League standpoint? Because early on when the players commit, they haven't yet played in the spring. So at times that pitcher goes in and he throws 95 innings, and it changes the coach's outlook on what he can do versus the guy that went there expecting to throw 90 innings. But you know what? He threw 10 and he really needs to go get some innings with you guys. Is that something that you guys deal with? And
100%. Yeah. And it goes back to, at the end of the day, we are running organizations that are predicated on, the business of what we're doing. Right. Sure. And, so player fees are a must for us. And like you said earlier, this is a 12-month thing. So, it's hard to schedule every little piece and detail of the billing of what we do, to come out on June 1st. Like, it's just not a feasible thing. So, and that's why, like, for us and leagues that have been established for a longer period of time, you don't have as many issues with this. But for new teams, new leagues, new things, like, pitching is tough because those guys want to wait until, April, May timeframe. And then now they have a better outlook of what those guys do. So I would call it nature of the beast, right? I mean, it's just kind of what we have to roll with the punches on, and then be able to then financially still be able to operate in the process. So there's a fine line to it. I mean, I've been doing it long enough now where I just have a system that I follow, and, we have payment due dates. We allow the players to break those payments up, so it's not as hard on them or their parents, right? We try to be as feasible with that as we can and understanding with that, because, at the end of the day, that's how we're able to operate in the summertime, but it's also, they're normal people as well too, right? I mean, they have their own responsibilities and things like that at the house. And, we try to pay respect to those things, but we're offering something that is a good opportunity at a relatively, low price, in my opinion. And so we try to make all those things work. And, pitching is it's a key to the piece, right? I mean, if you have it, you can win ball games. And if you don't have it, you're going to struggle in ball games. So it's just, finding that. But then, on the pitching piece, it's a double-edged sword over there as well too, because you got college coaches that don't want to send as many guys because they've either been burnt in the past by somebody out there, or they got guys that got overthrown because they didn't have enough arms, or it's just they don't know that they trust the kid to go out there and do what they're actually asking them to do, right? There's a lot that goes into that. And then you got the flip side of it, where you have every throwing program under the sun that has come out now, and so they recommend them going to do that because risk of injury is much lower that way, right? And, mitigating injury and those kind of things. So I understand why a college coach would say, hey, I want you to go and just purely develop. But, then we have the topic of discussion and the debate on, our pitchers, mechanically might be getting better, physically might be getting better, but are they mentally prepared to then pitch at that level, right? And that's a whole, opinionated thing. But it's, you can't, in my opinion, you can't emulate real life games. Like, you just can't. It's a different animal. And, you'll find out really quickly, or at least I have over the past, few years, what the guys that have been playing a lot of games and then the guys that have just been training, right? And you see that. And, there's pros and cons to both sides of that. There's definites on both ends of it. But for me, in my mentality, kind of where I came from, like I would much rather have guys that are battle tested. I would much rather have guys that have been in the game, that have gone through the ups and gone through the downs and understand what it is to, go out there and get whooped up on and have to come back and be able to battle it out for that next time that you're on the bump. And, you just don't get that, if you're not out there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so there's a lot that goes
has the changing of the schedules actually helped as well by when you're playing a few less games, or let's say you've got 2 months with 36 games, there's a little more of the rest component, which may allow you not to carry as many pitchers or to have a pitching staff that can compete without riding the horse too much, because for some reason, and you've said it, one bad decision by somebody they take out a pen or a paintbrush and they put it across the entire industry. That even happens in college baseball, where one coach overthrows a guy, or college coaches look at a high school coach and then he threw him too much. Everybody's always taking out paintbrushes and putting it on an industry. And I don't think anybody's actually out there trying to hurt a player, especially when you're talking about the goal of what your league is doing. You didn't put win number one, which I really appreciate that. A lot of people talk about winning. And for me, the win is the actual development. It is the preparation. It's the experience. It's being a part of the community. And some of these, you don't feel that success maybe for years to come. But as you're building those communities and people are bringing their kids out to the ball game, and it inspires a young player to want to be a college player, and he starts working hard, to me, that's a win. You're doing it on a much larger scale. I don't think there's intent for a coach to go out and say, let me win this game. It means that much, unless you tell me that whoever wins the championship gets to go to Disney World paid for. We're not in that era anymore. So really like what you're doing. I'm glad you're talking. I hope people are paying attention and the prospective athletes understand. One of the things I want to point out that I really like is you talked about when you reach out and you're asking for something, be prepared that there are people out there, and this industry changes within 24 hours. Okay. Because what you need today, you may not need tomorrow. So when you reach out and you're saying, I'm looking for an opportunity, already do your homework, players, look into it, go on their website, be able to have dialogue when they reach out to you with any questions. Don't be shy. Ask them, hey, am I going to get a host family? And let them talk to you about it. And whenever you take the commitment, I know the world is changing, but I can tell you from a player standpoint, the more you can play this game, the better you're going to get. I don't see the golf industry making these changes, saying, hey, you need 3 months off to be a better golfer. You don't. I'm also not seeing it in Latin America, where more than 50% of our athletes at the major league level are coming from. They're playing 24/7, 365. We happen to be in a country that there's not just 2 opinions, there's like 8 or 9 opinions. And from a personal standpoint, David knows me. I'm really big at trying to get brand off of things and saying, okay, Usain Bolt is the world's fastest man. Okay, he is, but he wears Puma. But if he put Nikes on, he would still be the world's fastest man. So, sharpen your tools, take it upon yourself. It's not going to be just because of one game. It's going to be everything that you do as an athlete to prepare yourself for the level. And hitters, the more you can see, the better you become, and you can take all the BP swings you want, but there's nothing that's ever going to outperform seeing live pitching. So the more opportunities you get, please, guys, take advantage of them.
Not to interject on you there, but hitting wise, we had a conversation just shortly after, just not long ago. And it was funny because we were developmental side of things and guys and all. There's a million hitting programs out there now, and I think they're all great. I think information is awesome. I think education is great. I think all of that's awesome. But I remember looking this kid, directly dead in the eyes, and I said, you might be able to hit great in a cage. You might be able to hit great off the machines. All of those different things, but a lot changes when the other guy wants to get you out.
Absolutely.
Right. And he sat there and was just like, yeah, and it was just like, it made total sense for him. And I was like, this is a competitive game. This is us competing against one another. It's very hard to be able to just understand what your opponent is trying to do, because that's part of the chess match of the game within the game.
Absolutely.
So it just all changes there. But yeah, you hit it right on the head as far as the pitching is concerned. All of that, great points. And, I like I said, we want the guys that want to be here, right? We want that. And if you're a young athlete, you're out there and you're looking for the opportunity, go to the place that wants you to be there, right? I mean, and everybody gets all hung up on the titles, and everybody gets all hung up on this school, that school, D this, D that. And it's like, if you're good, go and play. And things will, I promise you, if you work super hard and you're the best guy on that team at that year, at that time, things will happen for you. But, trying to make it much bigger than that and always looking for all the different things around it, it's just, you're filling your head up with a bunch of air, and, you need to just go and you need to work, and you need to work harder, and trust what you're doing is going to pay off in the future. And, and laser focus on that. And the more that we would have that and people just honing in on that across all things, not just baseball, I think,
Sure.
the world will be a little bit of a better place. So
Totally agree.
And from a scouting standpoint, James and I both have over 20 years of scouting experience. And My Time Sports, we focus on advancing the players to college, the junior college players to four-year universities. James with the Global Scouting Bureau focuses on the professional side with independent, international, and Major League Baseball. We do a lot of our scouting in the summer times. We get out a lot in the spring to the high school, the junior college, and the college games. But in the summertime, you get to go see these guys play against the best of the best in the country. So if I go to junior college, the pitchers might face, 2, 3, 4, 5 hole hitters that are really good, and they can get away with, some of the stuff in the bottom of the order. Where in summer leagues, you got the best of the best. I mean, 1 through 9 is gonna be able to hit. You're gonna, you might be a junior college freshman that's gonna face a Division I arm. You're gonna get better when you play at the summer league. So, for you guys that want to go through these development camps and things like that, I mean, that's all great, but the mental side of it and just the ability to compete and get better, I think is very valuable to get on a quality summer program. So I know you guys do a great job there. We have your logo and website linked to My Time Sports website as well. So any listeners that want to go, you can click directly on their link and get to the website. And, we look forward to helping you guys and seeing you guys succeed in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
well, one other thing I'd like to add real quick for you is, I mentioned hitters that need it. I came from a pitching background and pitched collegiately and professionally. And the one thing that players don't always do, and that's where I want them to understand, if they were a freshman or they were a sophomore and they needed to develop, let's say, that changeup, what better opportunity than doing it in a league to where you can go through failure? Because for everybody that is now successful, everybody thinks they just woke up and they were successful. No, they went through failure. So if you're a guy and you're a pitcher and you throw your fastball, you got a breaking ball, but your coaches are telling you need to work on that third pitch. Well, you can do all the bullpen sessions you want, but I need to see how a hitter's going to react to it. So pitchers, that's some of the things that you can do in these leagues is you can go out and develop. And guess what? It's okay to fail because you're failing while you're getting better to go back to your college, to then have that third pitch, to maybe take up a higher role for the colleges that you play for. And I think there's so many things that can be done in live competition, especially in a league like this. For me, I didn't throw a changeup until I got into minor league baseball, and I had to. And I had to go through feeling really uncomfortable because it felt good in the bullpen, and then you're scared to throw it. And there's a whole mental thing to get over, because if you threw it and gave up a hit, you wanted to put it in your back pocket and say, no. And it took you doing it in live competition and going through failure, then getting that ground ball double play to say, you know what, this is a pitch in my repertoire. And for some guys, it's the command of their breaking ball or the confidence to be able to throw a 3-1 slider because they couldn't do that in the past. Well, this is a great opportunity to go and get the innings you need in live competition, to sharpen the knife, to better yourself, to go back to that school that you're at, and hopefully go towards your goals and dreams. Because everybody that's playing, their desire should be to be the best that they can be. And right. This adds to that. Now they can go and continue to work on it in live competition, and they have a goal. They're trying to go there and get better at something. So I think it's a great opportunity, and I'm really glad that you were talking to all the athletes, and we're very much in line from a My Time standpoint, Global Scouting Bureau, and even on a personal standpoint with the ideologies that you're putting out there. So.
No, I appreciate it. I really do, guys. Yeah, it's refreshing, obviously, to speak on that, because like you said, there's 8 different opinions on every single topic that's out there now. And I appreciate all of them. Honestly,
Sure.
I think that having the insight on that and being able to see it from different perspectives allow us to then shape what we're doing. Right. And so I see a lot of leagues. I see a lot of different things that are out there. I see a lot of different things that they do. Some of them will make changes to stay relevant and stay around. Some of them won't. And, so it's just about finding the right fit for you and finding what makes the most sense for you and your family. And those are all respectable reasons to do whatever it is that you need to do. But I thoroughly appreciate it, guys. It's been fun. I don't know if you guys have any other questions or anything.
No, that's it. We're going to go to a short commercial break, but we'll be back with you maybe sometime in the summer and maybe catch some of the highlights from some of the games and any of your unsigned sophomores that are looking for 4-year places to play. We'll be happy to help. And there's some of your 4-year guys that need help to advance to the professional level. James and I can help with that as well. So we really appreciate your time and look forward to following up with you this summer.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Yeah, you guys have a good rest of your night, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll go to a short commercial break and be right back. Hey everyone, welcome back to the It's My Time show. I'm your host, David Andron, along with James Gamble. We just had a great conversation with the commissioner of the Kansas Collegiate Summer League, and we want to talk a little bit more about the importance of summer baseball. At the high school level and at the college level, it's very important. We do a lot of our scouting and things like that during the summer. And James, I know you're involved a lot in summer leagues as well.
Sure. Well, one of the things that I think has been happening over the last few years, this gap that I want players to understand is, that high school senior that's committed to college, he thinks, let me take time off. Well, we just got through talking to the commissioner of a league. The freshman that's in front of you is going to play against college players. Okay, so for athletes and their families, you don't take off. This is not when you're going to fall further behind, because that freshman going to the Kansas Collegiate League or any other summer league, they're getting further ahead of you. Because this is a competition. You're going to be competing to get that college spot once you're there. And so many guys think, hey, I've committed to college. That's the finish line. That's really the starting line. So for me, a lot of players that end up, let's say they're not committed and they commit in the summer after their senior year, which, oh my gosh, everybody panics when I say that, but it happens a lot. Those guys go in a little better prepared. Okay. And in fact, I'll use an example. We had a player that played in an organization. He played for Empire. He committed at the end of June after his senior year. Well, he's playing in Mississippi, where they only have 4 out-of-state spots, as you know, and they had 3 guys that were already committed. Well, there's 3 guys that committed early that are serving him water because he's the number 1 guy now. He went in based on a need, okay, and he worked really hard to get that. Probably got a little chip on his shoulder, which is a good thing. Because while these other guys that he thought he was better than were committing early and waving their flag thinking they did something, well, he continued to work hard. Now he's caught them and he's passed them. And nothing outperforms hard work. That's just how it goes. So for me, part of the message is, guys, just because you committed somewhere, that's the starting line. You better be playing summer baseball. You better be getting those reps. You better keep oil on the chain. I have nothing against, kind of like Sheldon said, I have nothing against all the training places, because there's a lot of them. Okay, there are. And it's great to train, but there's nothing that outperforms competition. Okay, you can spar all you want to, but when you get in that real fight, it's going to happen differently. Okay, there's a training side and a game side. And it's 2 different things. So a lot of players, you're trying to prepare yourself to go play, okay, not just to go. And you may look good in the bullpen, but eventually that coach is going to put you on the mound and you got to get hitters out, right? And there's going to be an umpire, there's going to be fans, and there's going to be a guy that's going to be hitting off of you. You better get in that environment and prepare yourself. So that's the little gap area that I see in our industry that I hope our message gets out. I hope people understand. Everybody wants to reduce injury. Hey, that's great. I don't know anybody that's out there trying to hurt players, okay? Especially in the summer where you're reducing their workload. That's not it at all. So,
Right.
And again, I mean, that almost leads me to saying a lot of guys who are afraid if they haven't committed all the time, because I talk to coaches all the time, and you do too, and I talk to parents, and their anxiety is so high. I mean, we have agreements through my time to be helping colleges find their athletes. Okay, that's what we do. It's not one or two, but JMU, Holy Patriot, they're new to the table, but you're looking at 70 plus players that they're going to be signing. Some of these are going to be scholarship athletes that have lived right, that have worked hard, that now get opportunities. That's just right next to us. That doesn't count numerous other colleges that are going to be looking for players. And I openly tell every parent, every person this. We just talked about it. Where we're at today will change by tomorrow, okay? Because there is no college coach, none, that can tell you for sure who's going to fail out in the spring, who's going to get hurt in the spring, who's going to underperform in the spring and have to be moved on because he doesn't perform at a high enough level, who's going to get a girlfriend, fall madly in love and just quit, who's going to get drafted and actually sign. Nobody knows those answers right now today on January 12th. So things are going to change this spring that opens up opportunities this summer. The other reason that I was talking about that little gap area, and then I'll let you talk, is that with these changes, coaches also move from one school to another. There's a portal. Things change. You want to keep your name relevant. You have to keep it out there. Otherwise, people forget who you are. You have to stay in that game. So I think I think the summer after your senior year is very important that guys continue to play the game and prepare themselves rather than sitting back thinking they've done something. And I'm seeing it. That's why so many guys are getting cut. That's why so many guys are going into the portal. I hear them saying, I'm not happy. But really what's happening is they're not performing well. They're not prepared for the competition that they're in. And the college level, everybody there was the best high school player. So you better get ready for that competition.
And from my time sports side, we help over 2,000 college coaches find players. And a lot of times those players sign late in the summer, sometimes even early August. We've had players sign Division I scholarships, in August as other students are starting school. So, the summer league really becomes a very important scouting aspect for us.
Well, Dave, I think you need to add, and we need my time to continue. On December 31st, I got a phone call by a school in Mississippi that needed a catcher this spring. Okay, I mean, you're talking about things changed so much, and they had out-of-state availability because somebody had failed out or somebody had got hurt or the situations I was telling you, and this is all over the country. So you're really never out. You have to be prepared. So even going back to Sheldon, athletes, make sure you are prepared. Don't wait to get ready. Live ready. You should be doing this each and every day, trying to be the best that you can be. So when the opportunity presents itself, you're ready rather than, well, it would take me 2 weeks to get ready. Why? This is what you do. Get ready. And that's what I'm saying. Look, I think we need to add that. And at a my time level where players that didn't think they had an opportunity, it just happened. This was December 31st. I was getting on a cruise ship with my family, and I got a call looking for a catcher for this year. So there's always opportunities. You have to be ready when they present themselves.
Exactly. And, we talk about the importance of summer ball, but, picking a quality organization is very important. There's so many out there. And like we just talked about it at the collegiate level, they have some leagues that just abuse the system and overthrow their pitchers and really don't look at the effects that it has on the players. But the same thing at the high school level. There's so many different showcase teams and things like that out there. I mean, do your due diligence, your research. Don't focus on the brand. A lot of these players and parents are spending thousands of dollars, to get nice gear and shirts and all this type of stuff. But these programs, they overpromise and underproduce. I get called all the time that these kids spend a fortune to be part of these organizations, Then they panic because they're in the summer of their senior year and don't have a place to play because the organizations didn't do anything to get them prepared or get them the exposure that they need. And, we always talk about it, exposure going to a big tournament in Florida is just one little bitty event, whereas we focus on the exposure rate. And I'll let you talk a little bit more about the exposure rate and the importance of that to the athletes.
Right. Well, one of the things that I tell everybody is to make it a very common sense approach. Yes, if you're 6'4", left-handed and throw 94, you can throw 2 pitches in front of almost anybody and you're probably going to get an opportunity. But for the large majority of guys that are moving on, you need an exposure rate. That means don't listen to, hey, come here, you get great exposure. You need a rate. Okay, we're from South Louisiana. If it's 110 degrees and I walk outside for 30 seconds, I'm not going to get a sunburn. Okay. But if I go out there for 3 hours, I'm going to be burned to a crisp. That's an exposure rate, right? The rate of time that I'm in front of the sun. So there's some common sense. My point to all the parents is every time somebody's talking about, I have the best team, they're not focused on the right thing. I used to watch videos and I would see people bragging about how good their brand was. And I went, what are they? They didn't even mention one kid, not one player. Who do you think played the game? That coach? He's done. He's never played again. So, get that over with. And, it's okay if you lose a game. I don't know the exact, but I'm pretty confident that the Atlanta Braves, who are World Series champions, lost about 60 games, right?
Right.
I know that the Yankees, the Tampa Rays, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the San Francisco Giants, they all had better records. They won more games. They didn't win the last one. So what if you lose a game at a tournament at Joe Blow's or, the best tournaments in the world? It's not about that. It should be about learning how to play the game the right way each and every day, because baseball is a game of consistency. You cannot determine consistency in one day. It just simply can't be done. You have to see it multiple times. So
right.
I think you're right. Get with the right organization that has the right ideology. There's some good ones out there. Look, we have one. I'm not hiding behind it. We own United Baseball. I think it's one of the best from an ideology standpoint. But there's other ones. There's other people that do a really good job, but they're not out raising their hands saying, I'm the best. You got to come with us because we're going to win. So what about that win? Okay, go prepare yourself. So when you get to college, okay, when you get there, you're ready for the fight that you're going to be in, because they're not going to have 13 or 14 players on a team in college, right? And most of these travel ball teams, they try to appease all the parents. Hey, I'm one saying I'm not trying to appease a parent. Okay. I'm going to try to make sure that people have a certain workload. They get prepared. Sometimes you got to ride the bench. Well, guess what? When you get to college, sometimes that happens. Okay. You got to be prepared for all of it. There is a mental side to this game. And most of the time what I'm experiencing is, and you can add to this, I'm hearing the parents saying, I'm letting little Johnny make the decision. Okay. That's awesome. You're letting little Johnny make all the decisions. Well, I tell you what, give him your checkbook, tell him to go get a car. How confident are you? These are life decisions. You may want to be involved in the process just to make sure that you're guiding your son in the right direction. This is what we all should be working on, is for your son. Right. Not about your Monday morning conversation to be able to brag that your kid went 7 for 4 at the plate, okay, which is not possible. It's not about that statistic that he's hitting 587 on Joe Blow's team. It's about, is your son working hard, getting just 1% better each and every day? Okay. And then he's preparing himself, not just for the game of baseball, but for life. And I think that should be part of the focus. So.
Like I tell the seniors, this year, if you haven't signed yet and haven't gotten offers, still be patient. There's going to be plenty of opportunities out there for you. Again, all the way through the summertime, like James said earlier, we don't know who's going to fail out, who's going to move on, who's going to enter the transfer portal after the spring. There's going to be a lot of opportunities that open up. But also My Time Sports, just signed agreements with 2 brand new universities, John Melvin University, which you spoke about, JMU, in Crowley, Louisiana, as well as Holy Patriot University in Beaumont, Texas. Both of them are Christian-based universities, and they're going to be looking for 35 to 40 players on each team. They haven't even started the recruiting process yet. So, it's going to open up a lot of doors for people, especially here in South Louisiana, that, there's not a whole lot of college opportunities for us. We're excited about being part of their recruiting process. And I just wanted to tell everybody, don't panic, relax. There's going to be plenty of opportunities. Just work hard and do your work in the classroom and on the field, and keep your nose clean, and the right opportunity is going to open up for you.
Totally agree.
Right, and we'll be back next week with another episode. We'll talk more about the college recruiting process. And again, check out our books. It's My Time, one of the best recruiting books, named by Book Authority. And also, we do the mental training guide for elite athletes. It really helps out with the mental side and is used by a lot of the college and professional athletes as well. So thank you for being part of it. And thank you again for joining us, James.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. See y'all next time.